Hey Leo, it's Rebecca from Being Human Tarot here with your March 2019 forecast / reading. Didn't know which word I wanted to go with there. This month I'm sticking with the same 3-card spread that I kind of said last month I wanted to switch up, which I still do want to try out, but I kind of underestimated my affection for it, and so for now I'm keeping with it. And also I was just a little bit lazy and didn't have my shit together enough to research something different. So as a reminder, that means that the first card indicates your focus for the month, the second card indicates your set aside for the month, and then the third card indicates an additional consideration for the month. This month I'm reading with the Enchanted Tarot, and it's an anniversary deck, which is huge. And cause look at how big these cards are. They're really big. So not easy to shuffle. I'm not sure if the regular non-anniversary version of this deck is this big, but the cool thing about it is that the extra space makes it possible to have really detailed illustrations, as you will see, because I've already shuffled and drawn your cards. Perchik is here this month to assist, hopefully not get overly chatty to the detriment of your reading. So let's get into it. For your focus of the month, you drew the sun. Try to get it in a little bit closer, hopefully auto-focusing on some of the artwork there so you can see it really good. The sun is a great card. It's about success. It's about, it's kind of like one of the more self-explanatory cards in tarot, where you look at it and you just kind of you sort of know what's up. In this particular deck, we have a literal sun, like there is in most decks, and we've got some robins basking in the rays there, looking happy. Just it's nourishing, without the very obvious metaphor of in order for plant life and vegetation to grow, we need water and sun. So sun, likewise, is also very important to us as people, both in terms of not being depressed, frankly, because obviously a lot of people struggle with the lack of light in the colder months, which we are still in. Even though by the time we get to March, it's hopefully warming up a little bit. But anyway, all this is to say that the sun is what you'd expect it to be. It's positivity, it's feeling good about things, it's, that quite literal feeling of when you walk outside and the sun hits you and it just feels good, it feels nourishing. So this is, it's my sink. Okay, so I lost my train of thought for a second there. Oh, okay, I remembered what I was trying to think before I was rudely interrupted by my sink. It's also a reminder to kind of take care of ourselves in the specific way of, and I'm going to explain this, but first I'll just say it plainly, by kind of remaining positive and remaining positive and taking care of ourselves. And a little asterisk with that is that I'm not saying that we should shove down hard emotions, difficult feelings, sadness, anything like that, because we certainly need to feel all those feels and they're legitimate. So it's not like that kind of card. It's not like, hey, there are people out there who have it worse than you, so just, look on the positive side. which, you know, that can be like a very legitimate, I think I just said legitimate like 5 times, but that can be a very legitimate line of thinking sometimes. But it's like a good thing to consider alongside the fact that if you're going through something that, you know, bothers you, the scale of it is, you know, it factors in somewhere, but it's still totally valid. Anything that you're feeling is valid because they're your feelings. But anyway, all that was kind of like a roundabout way of saying that the Sun card is not just like a surface level, be happy commandment from the universe, but it's a sign of things brightening up, of things going your way this month, hopefully being a little bit easier, and also a reminder if things don't feel that way, that our own thinking and our own way of framing things does play into that somewhat. You know, like obviously, if someone in your life dies, it's not just like, oh, well, if only you could do more positive thinking, you could, you know, it's all about perspective. Like sometimes things just suck. So, it's like, it's the twofold. It's kind of like there could be things already going well this March for you, and it's gonna feel, you know, maybe not completely seamless, but maybe easier than the past couple months have been, especially if you're sensitive to light and stuff like that. Like the days are finally going to start normalizing a little bit. And if that's not the case, then it's a reminder that seasons are changing soon, both metaphorically and literally, and we do play like a little bit of a role, or like I keep like qualifying everything I say as soon as I say it with something else, because I don't want to so definitively say anything that doesn't like take into nuance, but sometimes I get like kind of tripped up when I do that, so sorry if this is a little all over the place, but that's your focus for the month. So things will be getting better, things will be softening up. If they're not currently, know that like everything has cycles and you're not in this forever. And also try to remind yourself of things that you enjoy and things that you could be doing to, like on your end, little things that could make yourself feel in a little bit of a sunnier disposition. In your position of set aside, Leo, you drew the Ace of Pentacles. Which is like the card where it's often the new job card. It can also be, but it's also, even before you get the new job, it's often about planting the seed for a new work situation, or planting the seed for something that will, ouch. So as I was saying before Percha got super aggressive, or it's planting the seed for a situation that can bring some money your way. So that's not always necessarily a job, right? That can be different kinds of things, mostly jobs still, but also it's, you know, pentacles are earth related. They're, they can be about the body, physicality. So it could be some way of taking care of yourself that you haven't been perhaps in the past. Like maybe you're finally starting to do something now. You're watching out for your body in a way that you just haven't been taking care of your body in a certain way. And like maybe now is the time to do that. But that being said, isn't your set aside? And so it's never like not a good time to take care of your body, but perhaps perhaps if it's a job related thing and that speaks to you and makes sense to what's going on with you, maybe it's not like, don't just jump into a situation yet because it's in your set aside. Don't also take advice from a tarot video and a stranger online literally to live out your life. That would also be not the best choice ever. But usually when there's something like this that's in your set aside, it's about timing. So just think about timing. Like, what could be gained if you waited a little bit, like maybe did some more research about the job, something like that, then came back to it. Obviously with job stuff, it can be very timing sensitive, and so you can't always just like take, you know, like a month to think about something. But because it is popping up in the set aside, just, you know, flip through like the different scenarios and what makes sense with your own situation. In terms of personal health, it would not be setting aside, taking care of yourself. It could be that rather than sort of planting the initial seed of like, hey, like eventually I'm going to like go to the make that doctor appointment I've been like meaning to make. It would be more of, now is the time to do it. If you've already been putting off a thing, then you don't need like to plant the seed for it. You need to go like harvest the overgrown thing that has grown. Overgrown thing that has grown, you know, like articulate. So go get that taken care of, is essentially what that says. And finally, in your position of additional consideration, you drew the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is very straightforward. And ooh, I think in this case it may pair with your focus of the sun, meaning that Eight of Swords is you've got these barriers that are self-imposed. You don't actually have a situation that you can't get out of, even if you feel that way. So wherever that makes sense to you in your life, because I think honestly most of us have some self-imposed shitty situations and we can't always see them. So think about it and then ask yourself what you can do to rectify that. Like, what can you do to get out of it? Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes the solution seems easy, but it's emotionally hard. So if you feel like you're holding yourself back, and it could be this like potential health thing, right? Like, if the solution is just going to the doctor to get yourself checked out, that's a pretty like straightforward, seemingly easy solution, right? But there's other factors. The doctor can be very expensive. The doctor can require taking time off work, and the doctor can make you face things about your health that you're anxious about. And maybe you're totally fine, but it's just overcoming the anxiety of going and like asking about something that you're worried about. So there's a million different examples of how we hold ourselves back when it's nothing external that's actually creating the situation except ourselves. So just think about that a little bit this month. Though overall, I think it's gonna be a good month. Time should be easing up, getting a little bit calmer, a little bit brighter. So I hope that was a helpful reading, Leo, even though I had to do a lot of editing and it's probably the end result of what you've seen now. It's probably rather choppy. But if you did find it useful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I update the suite of videos for all the signs before the 1st of every month. And if you subscribe and then click on the bell icon, you'll be automatically notified as soon as I do that. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope I'll see you next month. Bye, Leo.